At some point, they're going to have to make, right? Um, either both these guys fight until they have 20 Titans left, or downtime comes, whatever comes first, or someone makes the call to the aggro. Um, right now, the Imperium, I don't know what the call would be, right? Would the call be to jump out? Would the call be to warp off? Um,
I think the message was sent. The message was, "We're not gonna take this lying down." Um, I get the feeling, I don't know if it's the momentum of the battle, but I do feel like the Imperium has kind of made the statement. We got new numbers on Titans, and I was surprised by this. It's not confirmed, but the Imperium has now 396 Titans in the fight. Pappy has 428. So they are no longer the ones with more Titans on the field. And I kind of feel like maybe they've achieved what they wanted to with this, or got what they could get, and now it's time for them to save up. I'm just getting that feeling. I Is that just me, or are you seeing the same thing?
I think the Imperium want to get a little bit more out of this, right? If they call
Yeah.
it quits right now, they're going to lose another 10 Titans, probably 20,
Mm.
in that process of getting safe, which is going to skew that number and it's going to be bad for them. They just want to rack this tally up higher and higher. I think both sides, and this is the coolest part about these fights. This is why these fights almost never happen, because information in Eve, like FCs want to make informed decisions. Right now, there's this huge mystery box of how many Titans do these guys have in stockpile, and neither side has a firm handle on what the other guy has. The Imperium might say, "Hey, we got 100 of these. We'll do this again tomorrow." Maybe they do. Maybe that's all hubris. Pappy on the same side, Billy maybe saying, "Hey, I got 50 of these. I can make 10 of these a month myself just by mining an oracle. Do what you want." Like maybe they do have a huge cache, but maybe they don't. It's this imperfect information where both of these sides think that they're making the right call. They both think that the other guy doesn't have this cache or as big a cache as they're saying. So it's really, really cool to see that both of these guys are doing the same thing, and they both think the other side's wrong. Like this never happens in Eve, or
Yeah.
very rarely happens in Eve.
Well, that's why we were so excited to see it. Is the elements are all here for a big fight, and it's rare that it all comes together. And part of that is the psychology of what the FCs are thinking, what they think they're capable of. By the way, a friend makes a good point that there are a ton of horde Hicks surrounding the Keepstar.
Yeah,
So,
a few weeks ago, Gobbin's Theory crafted a fleet doctor that was basically heavy interdictors fit to be kind of like heavy missile DPS ships, but each with a hick point for this sort of fight.
right, because they can keep ships from retethering, and also if the Imperium decides to retreat, they will incur a heavier loss because they will get locked up by these small ships that are made to lock up capital ships.
Yeah, you'll if you look at that fleet, you'll see me.
You're in there. You're one of those Hicks. Okay.
Yep.
Gobbins and theory crafting is he is one of Eve's more prolific theory crafters. Sometimes his ideas are flat garbage, right? I'm not going to give him a pass. Sometimes his ideas are bad, but sometimes his ideas are absolutely fantastic, right? And this is one of those cases where he said, "Hey, this situation might happen. I want to be prepared for it. I want our pilots to have an option for this. I want our logistics guys to see these things. So if and when this happens, we have an option here, right? Because if you rely solely on dictors, which a lot of people do in these big fights, you drop a bubble, that bubble can get bombed off. The supers can bomb off these bubbles. Bombers can bomb off these bubbles. The Keepstar can PDS the bubbles off. Like you've got so many options to get rid of bubbles. You have very few options to get rid of Hicks. If you want to get rid of Hicks, you have to commit your subcap fleet. And if you commit your subcap fleet, then your subcap fleet also dies fighting one of the tankiest cruisers in the game to the rest of the people on grid.